Monday, December 15th, Hartland Selectboard meeting. It is 5:30. The first item of business will be the minutes from the last meeting. We have both regular minutes as well as executive session minutes from December 8th. I would entertain a motion to accept those.
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. A second?
A second.
Thanks, Trace. Any discussion? I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Just to double check, Clyde is 1-on-1.
No, not currently, no.
Okay, so we are full. Second order of business are the accounts payable / orders through today, December the 15th. Again, I need a motion to accept them. Thank you, Jim.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Trace. Any discussion?
The 10,000 for the salt, whatever that is that for the full year?
Nope.
We get through the year? No.
That's 5 deliveries of salt.
And how many do we plan on having possibly? On average?
Clyde is entering the meeting now. It depends on the year. We don't have salt storage, so we have to order it as we need.
Thank you.
Yep.
John, I meant to do this research this morning, but the Nimerick software renewal for 5,700 and something.
Yep.
What software is included in that?
That's our payroll software, and it's also a software that the listers or Bob uses in assessing.
In the finance?
And finance.
It's everything.
Yeah, it's everything.
Brand list,
Right.
payroll,
Okay.
cash receipts, general ledger, assets, cemetery, it's dogs.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the whole kit and caboodle.
Okay. And how long is it? Is this a contract?
It's an annual service.
Fee?
Yeah, we don't have a
contract
contract with them, no.
Okay. Just given the hiccups and the unfortunate circumstances with payroll and accounts payable and all those things, I want to make sure that we're aware if there are any other options out there. I don't know of any.
It'd be a lot more money. You'd be probably paying
I'd like to investigate.
We can find out other options and provide feedback on that.
Yeah, I'd like to understand what the playing field is on that one.
Sure.
Okay.
If you're going to go down the research path, it would also be good to understand Nemrick's like security,
Right, absolutely.
because it's a different day and age right now.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm still going over my letter from Dartmouth College that a lot of my information is gone, including Social Security number. And that's the Oracle Financial Suite, which is supposed to be one of the better ones. The culverts on page 2.
Yep.
What are we doing buying culverts in December?
Stockpiling them for use,
Okay.
being ahead.
And that's this year's.
That's this year's budget.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Good. Any other questions? Trace, you all set? Clyde, are you all set? Wherever you are. Tom? Okay.
I'm good.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? I think we're talking about an executive session, but there's some disagreement that we need it, so I don't want to get in any sort of legal hassle with calling. Tom, you're still feeling pretty strong that we don't.
Unless there's potential litigation, we should go into executive session.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said unless there's potential litigation, we really can't go into executive session.
Okay. Well, we'll cover the employee complaint, and that's the only thing that I wanted to follow up on. Okay. Then moving on, are there any public comments? Helen, yes.
Yeah, Helen Asman. I just want to say something about, actually two things. One, I want to mention, and I know this came up before, the speed with which people go through town here. I had occasion, and I do have occasion to now walk on the sidewalks here. Something has to be done about it. People go through here 50 miles an hour, and it was blows you off the sidewalk. Something just has to be done, and I understand that people are not honoring the stop signs down there too. So I don't know what has to be done, but something has to be done.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen any of the Windsor County Police? Because sometimes they are sitting at the
sit down
intersection.
at the fire station, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
No, I hear what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And number two, I want to just mention that the library is a tremendous resource to this community. It's gotten so much better. Everybody uses it, from the real old people to the really tiny little tots. Families, everybody does. I think it should remain the way it is. No cuts, nothing. I mean, people in that library work very, very hard, all of us. And we don't think that taking anything away from it is good. I think it's bad. But the way things are, we need a strong library because it informs people, it keeps them up to date with things, so you can use the computer in there. If you don't have one at home, it keeps you up to date with everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. Any other public comments?
You don't know what order is that?
Yes.
It would be by topic. Is it all public comments now, or?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a public comment also. in this room.
Tina, can you identify yourself, please? Okay.
I previously was on the board of trustees of the Fairleigh Public Library, so I can appreciate how much the trustees have already put a lot of thought into things, and the library director and staff have put thought into their budgets. My understanding is that they've already met the requested cuts, so I hope that there are no further cuts, and that the trustees are given the ability to use the reserve fund as they see fit. I've been delighted with how often I go in and I see more and more people, as already mentioned, multiple ages, multiple days. There are a lot more activities in the community room, and they're extending programming to people way beyond books. So people come in to play cards, they come in to run board games, they come in to do reading with the kids. But overall, it's a huge chance for community in Hartland. And I think that that has tremendous benefit for a sense of togetherness, has a tremendous mental health benefit to be fighting loneliness and isolation or fear of each other. The more you get contact with other people in your community, I think the more you feel like you are in a community. So as for the previous suggestion that no cuts be made, and the trustees have the ability to use the reserve to make through it and really prioritize stuff.
Okay, thank you for your comments there. Tina and Helen, you are aware that we've asked the Highway Department, the Rec Department, the administration, and the library to cut the budget. So this is not a library cut that we're talking about. I hear what you're saying and duly recorded. Thank you. Moving on to the budget.
Great. So we've made a few minor revisions to the budget, and then I'll let Tracy or Meredith or Tina, or some combination of all of them, walk through the budget. So we made a couple of minor adjustments. You have a revised budget. Again, sorry for having to share. So I'll just highlight a few of the small changes we made. We took out the mileage reimbursement under the administration budget, given changes to my contract starting in January. We just removed that mileage reimbursement altogether.
What page are you looking at?
What page?
I'm on page 1 of general fund expenses.
Okay.
Oh, expenses, this is revenue. Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
So that took $1,500 out of the budget. We adjusted our computer purchases budget down by $500 because we hadn't been we've been doing basically 3 per year and not needing that full budget. So just revising it down based on price. There we go. That's the big changes there. I'm going to jump to the next page. Page 2 of 11 in general fund expenses. We reduced the reappraisal fund by $5,000. So we've been putting $15,000 per year into the reappraisal fund. We now have sufficient money to cover the reappraisal that's happening in 2029 or 2030. So as we go forward, we can adjust that again back up if needed. But for the time being, we have sufficient funding in there for the reappraisal that's planned.
Are we locked into any price structures at this point for that?
No, we're locked into a time frame. Yes. I'm going to jump forward a handful of pages here again, because again, we didn't make a ton of changes here. On page 5 of 11.
And I just want people to know there's already reductions. We're talking about new
correct.
reductions.
We had gone through and looked at a lot of these lines already. In the North Hartland School, because of how we're keeping the building, we took the water out. The water's turned off to the building, so there's no need to have a water budget in there. Reducing the repairs and maintenance and fuel down on page 6 of 11 now. Yep.
There's water.
Water, and then the top of the next page is.
It was already zeroed out, water.
It was zeroed out at the.
Oh, okay, I see, I'm
No,
sorry. Yep.
Reducing the repairs and maintenance and fuel. We keep a nominal amount of fuel there and we keep the heat pretty low. We kept some of the repairs and maintenance money in there. We'll see how things go at town meeting. But again, broken windows, broken light bulbs, things like that, we have to fix them as they come up. And then we also, if you jump to page 9 of 11 of general fund expenses, we took out in the buildings and grounds budget, we took out the salt line. That's the last line in the buildings and ground budget at the top. That was specialized pet-friendly salt that we had been using for a few years on sidewalks and 3 corners. We've been using traditional salt now, so we took that out.
What's the side effect of using that?
We have not heard any side effect of that.
Did we use it last year?
We did.
Okay.
So what are we using? There's no line item then for salt. Where's the salt? Who's paying for the salt?
The highway department
Oh, I see.
gets scooped into the salt spreader in the back with John Deere.
Okay.
So those are the additional reductions that we made.
Do you know what that total with those additional reductions?
I don't. We could figure it out for you real quick, but it's probably somewhere in the order of $7,000 or so. Would be my guess. Some of those were $1,500, $2,000 reductions. So right now we're down to 4.6% between the general fund and the highway fund. 4.6% total increase.
Okay.
And that includes or includes.
This includes everything, correct. It's pretty thin. We talked about this at the last meeting. There are some areas, especially in the highway department, that are, there were reductions made that I think we could potentially add money back into because we might overspend in those areas, such as the tree removal budget. Again, this doesn't have the lamb fertilizer budget in it. I think we might want to reconsider putting that in for 1 more year. Just to give time to do the soil testing that was discussed at the last meeting to see if there's a true need and to line up a contractor if we need to continue to mow that field.
That was $1,000.
It was $1,100, I believe.
Yeah.
So, there could be some small tweaks around the edges here, but I think by and large, this is what the administration, rec, and highway fund looks like. So, any questions on that?
So when are we going to put the tweaks in?
So right. So the question is, we'll go through the leverage budget. We can adopt it with amendments, or we could do it the first meeting in January. It's up to you all.
Okay.
To decide that. The only minor revisions I would recommend would be putting money back into the tree removal budget in the highway department and putting the land fertilizer money back in. So we just went through about $7,000 in reductions. adding slightly less than that back in, adding about $5,000 or $6,000 back into the budget. Because we know there are trees that need to come down, you know.
So what's your percentage after you do that?
So it's gonna largely would say about it might go up to what, Martin?
Probably 5.
Probably just,
Like we said, we're trying to get around the 5% budget. If we add another,
if we had $7,000 in on a $4.4 million budget, it's not gonna have a huge impact on that.
yeah, if we put 7 back in, it'll probably bring it back up to 5.3, 5.4.
And I know we shouldn't be thinking about this in our consideration. We've been working hard not to do it, but I understand the school has a number, but they don't know the number from the state yet.
Correct. We have no information on the school budget as of now.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on.
Yep. Okay.
This is any question.
Tracy, do you want to walk everybody through? So I think it's on page 10.
10 of 11.
10 of 11.
Does Clyde want to ask a question?
I think so.
Or something?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Are we looking at the same?
This is it.
Yeah. So this is the update. Sorry. This is the updated library budget that came in today
Okay.
in the packet that you have
Can
now.
you just tell me what the bottom line number is?
The bottom line number for the revised library budget is 303,736.41.
And what was it last week?
No, that's not right.
What's the right number?
300,150
Okay,
cents.
so went down 1,000 change from last.
300,150? Is that what it is? Okay, thank you.
This is
$100.
Yeah, $100.
Yeah.
$100.50.
In 50
God.
cents, yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to lose that 50 cents.
Yeah, yeah.
So the biggest pivot we made over the weekend is, we felt the consternation around tapping into the surplus fund. And we didn't know for sure that we could work together to figure out how to do that with the warning, et cetera, even though, we've been assured that that is library money to tap. So we heard the concern about deficit, et cetera. So we took out that money and found savings elsewhere. So we found additional, so the budget has dropped, but that is the biggest single change. You won't see that subtraction number in here.
Can I, Martin,
So
the 303 is the accurate number because your FICA numbers were incorrect.
retirement.
The retirement numbers were incorrect in the budget submitted.
Dropped a little bit. I remember since I didn't know
Yeah, I
today.
thought it was that
They were lower though.
No, it was higher. It was about $1,700 higher.
It's $1,200 higher.
So that's the 303 number in the budget that we have is the accurate number.
I thought you said it was 10,700.
No, I sent you the number is 12,000. I get it upstairs. I should have brought it down.
we didn't have it right now.
That's
So
correct.
you're not going to use the surplus.
Correct.
Meredith, what's your
What were we
retirement?
last week?
10,766, but I
Do you
don't
have
know.
those?
You're at 60.
12,051.95.
What's those?
Show me your budget.
What's the budget? Oh, here I go.
No, retirement. Yes, they are.
Retirement is $10,000.
Right. The retirement should be $12,051.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Yep.
That's what
That's what
I
FICA
got.
is.
Yeah, I'm now confused thoroughly, so let's hold on one moment here and
Do you have the email? I don't have it. Smart.
302.
With the usage.
extra.
Well, no, so
John, hold on.
Yep.
Have you guys gotten the right number here? You're saying no.
I'm looking through the emails.
While she's looking, could I just explain what we took out?
Let's get this. We're all looking at different numbers right now, Tina. What was the number here?
302,655. Last week.
Okay.
Library warrants exchange.
So is that the percentage that we asked them to drop?
I don't think so.
Martin, do you have that email?
Jim, is this drop the percentage that we asked them to do?
Yeah, so I only have the latest, I have 345 emails about
Thanks, Martin.
What's going on here?
Martin's gonna go get the email that tied that. So right now, the difference is, I think that there was a slight calculation that was off on the library's budget regarding their retirement contributions, in terms of total salary. So when we calculated and entered into the budget, it was adjusted, it was I think $1,700 change.
Okay. It was from Casey. Martin emailed me and said that our total retirement is lower than what was budgeted for, at 12,051.95 rather than 14,688.35. Also, the time
I might have,
is an error. Yeah,
yeah,
12. So Martin's right. 12,051.
so it's,
Yeah, 1205,195, it's in the new
so I
budget.
guess we need the updated FICA numbers then too.
Yeah.
The FICA is 14,410.75.
Okay.
So the total library budget with those two adjustments is 303,736.41.
Yep.
Back to where we.
And that's compared to,
Yeah, I don't have the other, we need the front page of that. Where is
It's
it?
right here.
It's went up $12,000 year over year.
Sorry?
$12,065 year over year increase. Roughly.
okay. Tina, you had a question or?
Well, it wasn't a question, I wanted to, so we took out the 12,000 whatever surplus that we were going to use. We were going to have 25 hours for one of the positions. We cut that back to 22, which then takes out insurance and retirement and so on. We also took out the merit and leaned a little bit into fundraising to cover some books and programs. We didn't want to fully do that because again, we're in new territory here and we don't want to completely take out that line item and then have to do more fundraising every year. That should not be part of Lisa's job as a library director. So that would be something that the board has to take on more. So it should come in, if I'm thinking about with those cuts, and even with adding in, I'm trying to think how much more was the FICA.
I didn't raise the numbers, I just wrote the
It
total.
still should come in around 6%.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking about it correctly.
You're right.
Which
We
when
were
I
10,
left last
right?
week, I
We
said
were
is
10.
the 6.28
We asked them to reduce it.
acceptable if we can get rid of that 12,000 surplus. So that's where we're at.
We thought we dropped it further with the numbers. Okay.
I think it is under 6.
And then do you want me to talk about that?
Well, I just wanted to, so it's budget season. Yeah, sorry. So I was budgeting at the church. And we're using federal FICA, so I was really curious why
No, what's the front page? I just wanted to see,
it's at COLA, I'm sorry, not COLA, not right.
where does it show
So
up?
we're
that
using the
that person
federal
is no
COLA,
longer
which is already
getting,
in at 2.8.
Can
So
we
we're
get-
curious.
We use the Northeast Region Consumer Price Index.
And the
The person was
Typically, we
gonna
grab
do
it in
25 and
September,
receive
but
benefits,
because
that was
there
at
was
the
a
beginning.
delay in statistics
What
this
page
year.
are you on?
We did an
12,
8-month
well, and
average
10 or
through
12
August,
under library.
and that was
Like,
3.28%.
You referred to it last week as an inflation.
It's in place, that's
Yeah,
the,
right, okay. As
Yep.
opposed to just cost of living.
So Martin, the person now not getting benefits, is that now?
hold on, just a point of clarity. They were never getting benefits, it was a reduction in the retirement contribution only.
Yeah,
Correct.
And that's now reflected in this?
Yes.
that
yeah.
lack of- Okay.
I think that for the library goals for next year, though, we do want to revisit the 25-hour-a-week position because, as you can see, like we have support for extra programming, extra hours are wanted. It's the #1 feedback we get from library patrons. We also would put back in our books budget as it was. So those would be increases we'd see next year.
Next year,
Yeah.
fiscal year.
Yeah, a year.
Fiscal year.
That's why 28.
Not January 1st.
And we could give ourselves time and the board
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
used to this
yeah.
idea of using.
No, I appreciate your
Surplus.
efforts, you know.
taking that to the town people to see if there's support for using the budget surplus, if there needs to be offsets. In a year, to coalesce and figure out how to do that. money.
But you have the ability to use the surplus.
Correct. But we're choosing not to now. It was clear,
Right.
like, when I
I
watched
mean,
it.
you'd use that money to buy books if you needed to.
We could, but there was a suggestion from the town
Yes.
when we were discussing things about insurance and and it was brought up several times that we were in a deficit. None of us were on the board at that time for a few years. So I think the board is in having discussions about how to ensure ourselves that if insurance goes up for some reason, that we have a bank, so we're not drawing on the town, right? So I think we're just holding on using that surplus money for now and then having further discussion.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
because
thank
that was our concern as well.
Yeah, we heard you.
Again, we went through the other three areas, the rec and the highway, and it's really, really hard to cut highway dollars. I mean, we were just commenting on the salt. The salt's gone up and some major things, and each one of us has to drive on the roads. Okay. So thank you. I'm sure, Jim, you're on the same page, and Tracy, you're on the same page. It's not fun. We're hearing from John Leonard and BJ, and you heard John, within their own budget here, we did the same cuts. So, okay, other questions about the budget going beyond the library?
Not specific on the library. Are there other questions on the budget as a whole? So we can make the small changes we talked about, adding in back in the land fertilizer. We can look at adding we can look at adding money back to the tree budget to keep the budget, adding in the right amount to keep the budget below a 5% total increase, which you see here on this page that you had in front of you. Right now, as it stands, it's 4.6, and it's a $40.90 increase per $100,000 of assessed value.
For our portion.
Correct. For which is the portion that we have within our control.
Right. I do open my tax statement in July, and I was shocked last year and shocked the year before. So, okay.
So, well, we just try to make this more definitive and just say, adjust the budget as needed, but keep it at 5% or lower.
Great.
And have with all the final numbers in it.
Come back in the first meeting.
With the final numbers.
Yeah.
I'm sort of.
Right, we've talked about
and it's really hard when.
Right, but you want to vote on the final next meeting.
Yes,
correct.
But I don't want any more tweaks.
No.
Because it's really hard to, they come in with these tweaks and they
Yep.
go looking back at the other thing. And,
No, I agree.
And if we're adding something back in and so
Yeah,
so
right.
I agree with you.
I think we.
Okay.
Again, thank you so much. We really appreciate your efforts.
Okay. Going on to another nice light topic. The second item in old business is the town employee complaint. We heard from a town employee reading a document that's again in our package this time at the last meeting. We also received in the packet a complaint that was signed by the majority, if not all, of the employees. And we decided to do two things. One was to better understand the legality of what was going on, because there was a suggestion that there would be a formal labor board complaint. And then we also asked the town attorney to draft a document for us. Let me read this from our town attorney, Jim Barlow.
Is it attorney-client privilege? Do you want to read it? Or?
I don't think so. You can tell me afterwards if I should screw up here.
I can summarize without.
Why don't, yeah,
I
I
could-
think why don't we be a little clearer as far as what the
It becomes a
complaint
public document. If you want to-
Right.
We're,
Well, essentially,
yeah,
the,
we're not talking about, yeah, we're not bringing that up tonight.
right,
We're
we,
just bringing up the complaint.
the,
Well, we have to respond to
Right.
what was submitted.
Yeah.
Correct.
okay, right. But the finding is that the town employees are not a collective bargaining unit because they're not a union. So that's the gist of it, and the rest of it is, just diving into the document that we don't need to do. So you made a request of the attorney for,
What,
Right.
so since this is in our packet.
Yes.
This is public information.
Agreed.
Let's be clear as far as what's going on.
Correct. So there was a complaint that highlighted some of the disparities between what town of Hartland employees receive in terms of benefits versus what Hartland Public Library employees receive as benefits, even though they fall under the broader umbrella of town of Hartland employees. There was some statutory references made in the official complaint that was made at the last select board meeting. Those statutory references are invalid because the employees of the town of Hartland are not part of a collective bargaining agreement. However, I do think it merits continued discussion by the board because it does highlight this real disparity between the benefits provided to separate but somewhat similar groups of employees.
Right.
Is that?
and further background is an assumption many months ago was that there was one personnel policy that all the employees signed. We've since learned that the state statutes allow flexibility by the trustees on the benefits on the salary side. So that's how things have shaken out on that part.
Is that clear to everyone? So by statute, library trustees can have their own personnel policies, and they don't have to necessarily be it's the same as town employees. This is what we're learning. However, that because you have different policies, it has created angst, concern, or whatever with others who don't understand that. We are all getting a deep lesson in library law, and a lot of things we've learned over the last 4 or 5 months as far as what library trustees can do vis-a-vis what we as a town can do. And so we wanted to try to sort this all out. And so we have contacted an attorney. We got an opinion for an attorney that we can't necessarily release at this point, but sort of lays out some of the processes that we could undertake. I think that's pretty clear. So so one of the things is we need to explain clearly to non-library employees the difference and where we're in. So that's what we need to do.
Cheyenne, yeah, so is that this?
Cheyenne, hold on. John,
You agree with that I just said?
yeah, and we have more information in our packet. So what we're saying is, are we going to act on that?
I think that's the discussion that
That's
follows.
it. I was just
That's
giving people
Yep,
background
yep.
as far as
Yep,
what's
that's-
going
The
on.
discussion on other things that have been included in your packet will follow the summary and apparently the question.
Okay.
Okay, that was my question, is what are the next steps?
I'm sorry, Cheyenne.
That
What's
was
the
my
next
question, is what are
What's the next step? Yeah, okay.
It's moving us along.
Is there anybody else
Do you
have
have a-
questions?
Well,
anywhere?
I was just, in my mind, trying to explain this to somebody, and I feel like I'm a town employee. I mean, the budget is passed by the taxpayers. I'm not paid through your financial department, but, right, I have a school board that runs me and my policies and my salaries and so on. The library there are 3 boards in our town, the school board, the library board, and the select board.
There's the rec center board. And
There is a rec center board as well. Well, so I'm learning. So each one, I mean, I don't know about the rec center, but I know that an elected board. By the
They're not an
taxpayers.
elected board.
Yeah, so if you're elected by the taxpayers, right, you take an oath and you do those things. So we each work for different boards, right, who have their different policy manuals, they have their different salaries, so that's how I was trying to explain how the library fits in within the town.
Sure.
Does that make any sense?
I think we agree.
Okay.
Yeah, we do agree, and we agree that the confusion goes back to a year ago when none of this was brought up and the benefits were all the same.
With the
We believe they were the same.
with the exception that the library, that the school system has its own budget and is brought to the town meeting, and they vote on the school budget. The library budget is included with our municipal budget.
That's good.
So this is what the issue is.
The confusion.
That's the confusion.
Okay.
Right, and to further clarify the budget.
Sorry.
No, never mind.
I just want to make a clarifying comment as an employee, a current employee. It's not a confusion per se. I think, I'm only going to speak for myself, is that even though you are a different board, still within, like Trey said, the same budgeting, that's what the town employees have a problem with, is you may have your own policy, but we're all town employees, right? So if the library is under the same, if they're coming out of this big pot of money and they're receiving different benefits than we are, that's our concern. Because the school has a separate budget that's voted on. But that's my
Maybe we're going here
personal concern.
next, but I think the issue is we've got a bunch of employees who are concerned about fair and equitable treatment. And I think we've got to come to some conclusion. Maybe we make a recommendation to your board, if the chair so believes it's the right course, to say we should really be on the same policy for pay, time off, unpaid lunches, all the disparities that are in between the two policies. Maybe it should be standardized.
I'm all for paid lunches.
State law and federal law don't require paid lunches, and our employees don't get paid lunches.
Let's not get into this.
Yeah,
I mean, it's one of the many
I
issues of fairness in the policy.
Yeah, Jim, I don't want to get into
Yeah.
lunches or things.
And
There's
just for the record,
just.
also, as I shared, we have personnel policies going back.
Are she talking out of turn?
Sorry.
Just let it go. Meredith, what's
I'm
it?
sorry. Just also, the library's had its own personnel policies going back.
We're familiar with that policy now. We were not familiar, and I would say 90% of it, 80% of it has nothing to do with employee benefits. It's really about the operation of the library and how the staff fit into that and the philosophy of the library. It's quite a document. Okay, and it's, to our knowledge, it's only fairly recently that the board has started changing benefits in that policy. You're saying no?
No.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah. So our attorney also, we asked to draft a letter, and what I'd like to do tonight is approve that. And the nature of this letter is writing to the library trustees and recognizing that there's the legality of all the things that you're doing, but asking if there would be some consideration given this disparity between the benefits of change, maybe looking at your benefits to be able to change them or adjusting them. Maybe that's the better word. So are we ready to, I assume everyone's letter was in your packet. Are we ready to just vote on that? And then I don't think there's any other discussion at this point. Okay, I don't have a big enthusiastic here, let's do it.
I have a couple of questions about it, and it's no way, the letter is just beginning of a conversational piece. It's not
That's-
force.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
Any kind
Yep.
of change to anything with the library
Correct.
at all.
Correct.
Okay.
Moves the conversation forward.
There has to be a conversation. There just has to be. To cover the disparity between the two groups. Unfortunately, what I'm afraid of is that if we try to negotiate terms between the two groups, it's just going to drive our budget up higher to try to fix this situation, and it can't be done right now. It cannot be done right now.
Right.
I do
And I also
see-
want to give the message to our employees, well, all staff, that we are addressing this. This is a serious concern. We heard the concern, and you know, this is our next step. Tracy?
Yes, so as a former labor organizer for 10 years in California, I fully support staff parity. I do also support a healthy working environment, which is what we've worked really hard to do at the library, and I think it's reflected in our services, and when people come in, they see happy people. Unfortunately, I disagree with any kind of taking away of someone else's benefits just because some other people don't have them. And I think that is like up to management to be creative about. I don't think that there are a ton of disparities though. The library as an operational building does operate very differently than say Damon Hall. So we have to be on and open to the public. So those lunch breaks are very important to staff to take. I will say that not a lot of us even take a real lunch. We don't really leave the library, but that's besides the point. But that's, yeah.
Tracy, thank you, but we also just heard Cheyenne. You know, so there's real feeling on both sides here that we have to figure out how to deal with. So thank you on that part. So all in favor of approving this letter?
So we should make an official motion.
Yes, thank you. I'm jumping the gun here. Okay.
So I'll make the motion that we approve the letter that's in our packet to be sent from the select board chair to the library trustees.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Grace. Is Clyde online?
He is online.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is Clyde? Right, thank you, Clyde. Okay.
So all this information is on the website, right? Is our packet, or this is not public information?
Policy.
Just
Policy.
I think this letter should be made available to.
I've already asked John, should we pass it tonight to distribute it to the employees so
So
that
it's not public information because we just, so.
Right, so we can.
So people should know that if they want to see a copy of the letter, they can just request it.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, then going on to new business, if we're finished with that for right now. John, you're clear about you'll get the letter out.
Yep.
On that part. Okay, the first item here is we have a private road off of Clay Hill Road, and the 911 authorities have asked for a name. John, do you want to give us an update on that?
Sure. So once off of private drives, once it reaches a threshold of structures off of a private drive, the E911 board requires that we have that become a named road. In this case, it's been named private road. We're not taking on new public roads here. We sent a letter to all residents, and we heard back from one, and you have the letter from that one resident in your packet, from Charlton Wood.
Out of curiosity, what's the threshold?
I believe it's 5.
I think that.
Three structures. So we're going to see probably, these coming up as they're moving along.
I didn't sign.
I didn't sign it either. So,
So there was a request to have the new road named Woods End Road. We typically run that by the E911 board for their concurrence. They did not like Woods End Road, given that we have Wood Circle, Rockwood, all things kind of in that area. I reached out to the landowner who did submit the naming request. Their second request was Old Oak Lane. What you have in the packet was the correspondence that we had with the E911 board, which says that works for us, basically. So it's the closest in town is Old Birch, which is on the other end of town.
Right. Correspondence is a little confusing, but I think that's what I'm reading at from Tyler Hermanson. Yeah, okay.
For the E911 board. So all we would need is a motion to approve the naming of this road to Old Oak Lane. We'll order a sign, we'll get name numbers for everybody.
Yeah.
That'll take 30 days or so, and it will be all set.
What is it currently referred to?
It's a private driveway. It's an unnamed private driveway.
So how do we make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we,
It's GO name 9609.
let's say that again, Tom?
It's GO name 9609. So that's what they're used for the E9.
Where are you seeing that?
It's right in that blue box.
Okay.
All of the abutters have been notified.
All of the abutters get notified. I think the motion could be to rename the private road, which houses the E911 structures, including 80 Clay Hill, right? Because that's what it is now. It's a private driveway off of Clay Hill
I'm
Road.
gonna simplify it. I'm gonna say that I make a motion that we approve the request to name a private road off Clay Hill to Old Oak Lane.
Second.
All in favor? Any discussion first? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 I guess.
Somebody get up the figure list.
Okay.
Be nice.
There you go.
Jeez, Jim. Did you eat dinner before you got here?
Jim, that's terrible. You are just worried.
Okay, it is that time of the year where we're taking our first stab at town articles for this year. So in our packet, we have, yes, I was looking at making sure open meeting laws. So we have a draft of those articles.
Yep. So what you have is a copy of the draft articles that will go along in the town report. There's a couple of questions on the appropriations still. We've not been able to get in contact with a few of them. So their appropriation requests were due in the middle of November. They're now well past that, but we're trying to give them the benefit of the doubt and give them the time to see if they get in contact with us. We've kept them in the budget for now.
How many
Who is it?
are they, and what value, what dollar value?
So the two big ones that we're running into were Headrest, which is a $1,700 appropriation request, and then the Mount Escutney Prevention Partnership, which is a much larger appropriation request. When Mount Escutney got absorbed by Dartmouth Health, it appears that our local contact with MAP has gone away, and we've not been able to find a new person to get in contact with.
A lot of those programs were actually absorbed into Dartmouth Health, so I'm wondering if it really did.
Why don't you email me? There's somebody in our office who used to work on this. I could get that for you. I'll find out.
So that's that.
And then
Go ahead.
the other is a family place as well.
They are broken out as a separate article because their appropriation went up. So they're collecting signatures.
Oh.
So if, aside, under the new appropriation policy that we passed in November.
Right, no, I understand that part.
Yep. So that's the appropriations. We still have the article to sell the North Hartland School building that did not pass last year. We've done nothing to that building. Turned the heat down, turned the water off, kept the lights on. Revisit that discussion at town meeting again this year.
And we did have a committee that looked at it.
We did.
We did a due diligence there.
And then based on the conversation last week, and we've been going through some of the kind of muddier town meeting minutes.
On North Hartland,
Yep.
do we have any type of cost estimate for what it would take to demolish the building?
We did at town meeting last year. We could find that again.
I could, yeah,
Yeah.
or I can get it updated, I can ask somebody.
Because I think we have to treat it as hazardous materials during the demolition process.
Did we ever get that hazardous building assessment done?
I believe we did, and I think that it came back as, unless we did additional testing, we would need to treat it as hazardous materials in terms of demolition.
But here we're talking about selling the building as is.
Yeah, I mean,
Always.
when you have the discussion, it'd be nice to say, here's what it costs for us to just get rid of the building and keep the land. Here's what it costs to break off an acre and sell, here's what we would make, or split off an acre.
So we have to define what property is associated with the building itself.
Right.
And we know the whole, but what slice is going to.
Exactly. So we can bring that up at town meeting again.
It's just, the data might be helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to be prepared because.
Right. Exactly. We don't. Yeah. And then the Article 6 was, so based on the discussion last week regarding the use of the library reserve fund, so putting a bit of a finer point on the intended uses of that fund moving forward.
Does library trustees agree?
So this is just for discussion tonight, right? So, yeah.
So I think this article is very unclear.
So this is.
So I think we should be more explicit as far as what we're asking for.
Okay.
Shall the town vote to clarify? We don't want to clarify. I think it should be a, it should be something to the effect, can library reserve accounts be used for what, operating expenses? I mean, what are we asking here?
So two things. One, I think we always send these to the attorney for kind of fine tuning before they get sent out and published. I think the intent of this article would be to use the library reserve account for future budget deficits, to take it away from, to remove it as an opportunity to use it as operating expenses.
Well, so if you have 20,000, so you spent 20,000 less this year.
Correct.
Than you intended. Goes into your reserve.
Correct.
That's a good incentive to spend wisely and build up some reserves.
Right.
Now you need to buy some books. A bunch of authors will release stuff. Want to take some money out and buy books. We don't want to. I wouldn't think we'd want to restrict it just to budget. Overages. If you do go over, maybe you have to take the money to cover your overage. So you get a benefit when you spend less.
Right.
Some of that benefit goes away when you spend too much. That I think makes sense, but you should still have the opportunity to use it if you buy something else.
So is there a threshold that the reserve account should stay above?
So there's the question then, because traditionally the entirety of the reserve account is due to a staff member leaving in the middle of last year. And there was some cost savings that were found. Prior to that, the library reserve account had $0 in it.
Right.
When the library was running a deficit, we the town made up the difference, right? Because we had obligations to pay those bills and those staff salaries.
So can we open up for comment?
Yeah, I mean.
Is that okay? Since
Phil decides.
So.
Well, I was waiting for us to finish the comments with.
So Jim, I don't disagree, but I think Phil's follow-up question was, is there a minimum threshold that should be kept in the reserve account then to cover anticipated future budget deficits? And what is that number?
In my opinion, I think the whole town should have a reserve account that covers 25% of the annual budget, because you don't know what's going to happen, and you don't want to borrow money, and your taxes don't come until September, but your bills start in July, right? So you ought to have a quarter's worth of backup.
Sure.
Right. To cover money that you would have to pay.
Gina?
Yes, I was just going to say that through the conversation last week, learning about budgets and things like that, and the discussions we've had about the library general reserve account and coming to some understanding that, yes, we need to build a boat of money in case there is something with insurance or something that happens. I also think that is in control of the board through the articles that was voted on when the library was established. And it gives us leeway so that, again, I believe like if we get to that point where we're comfortable and HVAC goes, or we've had plumbing issues for the last week and a half that's putting sludge on the floor, I would like to say, could we use some of that money with the town in order to fix those things? But if you narrow it down where we can only do certain things, then we can't do that. So I think that the board and looking at MOUs and things like that is a way to address those things rather than putting it in an article that really narrows it down so much that you lose control of how we use that money.
I agree with you, but I also agree with John that if you go over, it's gotta come out of there.
I understand, that's why that.
So, yeah, if you don't go over, you get more stuff. But the side question, the building, aren't we responsible?
Yeah,
Correct. There's a misunderstanding that I think we will address, like, and not at this time, but, you know, the plumbing issues that have been ongoing for the past week, the HVAC system, those are the town's responsibility. When, I'll use the toilet, because you just signed the payables that had the toilet replacement in there. Like, you all the library started the process, or did a toilet replacement without notifying the town, and hired a contractor to do it. We have staff who could have done that for no costs, aside from the cost of the actual toilet itself. So I think there's an opportunity for continued collaboration in terms of building maintenance.
As a landlord, we really don't want you doing stuff yourselves.
Correct.
Right.
I'm not saying that we would do it, I'm saying that we have in previous conversations, I believe from Phil and John over the summer, and we're like, you know, we understand that the building is getting older, right? And there are things that need to be updated. And a lot of the conversation is we have all these buildings to take care of, and we understand that as a board.
Yeah.
So whatever we can save here and do there, right? So there's a lot of learning that's happening at the library as well. So looking at that general fund and making sure that we have that buffer for overspending, which we haven't yet, but you know, there's that history that seems to be dragging with us. That we can build some things and maybe even help the town with our building. That's all we're saying.
Yeah.
We're not going to do it. I understand there was some issues this spring about, I get that,
Yeah.
right? But moving forward, and again, collaborating, I think that that's some areas that we would like to go. But I would say that article tends not to give us that opportunity. Thank you.
I thought our concern is that we hypothetically asked the library to reduce their budget by 5%. And they say, okay, but we're going to use our special fund to put it to where we want it.
I think that was last meeting.
That was last, but I'm just saying,
Right.
to me, I thought if that's what we were thinking of doing. I personally think we should table this article to the beginning of January, because I think there's going to be some other conversations with the library between now and then. It might have a little more clarity.
One would hope so.
Were we adopting articles today? Is this
No,
just the first reading?
no, just a review.
The
Again,
language-
we have appropriation requests that need that we have a couple more weeks to fill in.
Help me remember, the rescue squad had no change, so
The rescue squad had no change.
so they're not on here.
Yep. So they're in there in Article 4.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. The reason the volunteer fire department is broken out is because their appropriation request went up.
And that's their final number.
for this year. Yeah.
I have to say, I don't look kindly on the family place not giving us a number, and we could have already passed our budget tonight, and they would have been out of luck.
Okay.
So how
They're in the
urgent,
middle of correct.
what's that?
They're collecting signatures, which aren't due until January with the clerk.
Oh, okay.
Right, so they have a
Okay.
few more
All
weeks.
right.
You know, we're being nice and keeping things like headrest in there as a placeholder, even though
Right.
that they were due in November. So, you know, we're trying to extend as much time as we can for these folks to get their appropriation
Okay.
requests in.
As I look through this, the articles really are the same except for the two we talked about.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Again this year.
Really? 20-minute town meeting.
Now we're cursed.
Maybe we should put the
We need something that makes people
sell the
think.
building last.
Right.
I think we're on that.
So-
Do you think?
we can order them differently
I
so
think we should order them differently and put sell the building at the end.
at the end.
After the budget's voted on that part. I think we could also go back to having the school meeting on the same day as the town meeting and have a lunch and, you know, go back to what we used
I
to.
would like that, actually.
Yeah. Okay, any other discussion on the articles? Okay, last thing under new business is we've had a few glitches brought to our attention on the open meeting laws.
Yep.
John, you want to step us through what's
Sure.
going
So
on there?
in your packet, you had two things, both one an email that the clerk and the chair of the select board were copied on. And then the second is a kind of a quick FAQs and guide to open meeting law. Under open meeting law, minutes are required to be posted within 5 days of the meeting. We recently had the planning commission was missing 4.
Not 5, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it was September, October, 2 in November, and then December. They were all behind, and that was noticed and brought to our attention. The town, and the clerk's office in particular, have been in contact with the planning commission. We've been able to get some of those meeting minutes collected and posted. We're still missing, I believe, 2. I believe the public hearing and the meeting in early November. Those minutes have not yet been submitted. So
Have they been acted on though, approved at subsequent meetings? Or have they not even been created?
I'd have to look at the December minutes to see if the November minutes were approved. The issue is there's no real consequence here, but it is something that needs to be brought to, because if you look at state law, when there's a notification made to the chair of the select board, there's a requirement to act on it. And we need to make sure that all boards and committees within town are following open meeting law. So again, there's no anticipated action here, just a discussion in an open meeting.
We had talked last summer or fall about, we had some issues with meetings being properly warned. And we were going to have a collective training session with the 2 commissions and the select board.
Correct.
Obviously, maybe we should shoot for
we ran into some
winter after town meeting.
Yep, scheduling issues there. The person who would do it was out for a month, and then we got into budget season. So we could look into potentially even February or after town meeting to do it.
So I think it would be good for individual commission members to actually know what the laws are, as well as for the officers there. Okay. Any other questions, comments on that? Then let's move on to town manager update.
Well, because we're in the habit of meeting weekly, I don't really have much to tell you. It was noted, Tina mentioned we've been having some ongoing water issues at the rec. As you may be aware, the library is connected to.
You're technically correct.
The library is connected to the rec's water system. The well is in front of the rec, it flows into the rec building, and then there's a line going under the field that feeds the library. We think, as of today, we have chased down the issue in that there's been a break in the line by the hand pump by the gazebo in the field. So hopefully starting tomorrow afternoon, we have a contractor who will be coming to dig that up and address that issue. That will require the water being off at the library when they start that work and until they're completed. They don't know, because they're coming from another job tomorrow afternoon, whether that will be tomorrow or whether that will kind of trickle into Wednesday as well. But we are working on that actively. We have good news on the little John Deere tractor that broke during the first snowstorm. We anticipate John Deere covering most of the cost of the repairs for that, hopefully. Fingers crossed, we don't have final confirmation on that. But that will save us about a $5,000 repair.
So this is what the $4,000 repair just before the season.
That was unrelated. So, but hopefully that they'll be taking that on. Holiday schedule. So next week is Christmas week. So obviously we'll be closed on Thursday. Staff will be here all other days. And then I personally will be out beginning Tuesday afternoon next week through the rest of the week for the holiday.
Having many of those hydrants in my yard, when they dig it up, if they could go around, have one pipe go, have the main line V off, go around that hydrant.
Okay.
So that if the connection to the bottom of the hydrant breaks, you're still going to get water to the library.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
To just go around it.
Sure.
Very, very common for those.
Yeah, I have, in my barn, I have more or less the same setup as well.
Take note of that, Martin.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I follow.
Okay,
I follow what you're saying.
I'll remind you.
Yeah. Or they get silted off. Or,
Yeah.
They're paying.
Yeah. Related, we believe the pressure tank at the library has kind of gone past its useful life. So we're getting a quote for that. That'll be taken care of subsequently, but that's not causing the issue here. The issue is that we tracked down.
Not getting water.
Right. That we tracked down a break in the line. So
you've continued to update the director of the library.
Correct. Yeah, as soon as we found out.
Okay. Intersection lights.
No update. I reached out to them again. The poles were in. The light fixtures had not yet been received by the contractor who's doing the installation. I will reach out to them again. That was middle of last week or early last week that I got that update.
Okay.
So trying to give them the time to do their job.
Tina, you were raising your hand.
I was just like, so no water, public building. What are we gonna do for bathrooms?
Yeah, so bathrooms. I mentioned this in an email to Tracy and Meredith. You may want to look at closing the building while this is taking place.
Do we know how long?
We don't. Again, they're starting hopefully tomorrow afternoon. They may finish it tomorrow afternoon. We'll send updates as we have them, but that's the best information we have available. If it's 8 to 4, Damon Hall will be open for folks to come use the restroom, get water, things like that. But they'll turn the water off at the library.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, future agenda items. Next year, we will have the budget at our first meeting. We've got to get back to the town plan and understand where we are. We should be having the feedback from Two Rivers.
Done anything yet?
We have the letter from Two Rivers, so we'll talk about it in January.
Okay. And we have a highway policy. Did we not finish it?
We did not finish it. We got
That's
sidetracked by the budget.
Is that the consolidation of multiple policies?
Yep.
Okay. And Jim, you wanted to see a side-by-side kind of comparison.
If we have the specific policies that are being replaced, the old ones, and we have the new one, I can do it my own side by side.
Okay, great. And then the Quechee Road plan, the speed limits on the back roads. Those are the major things. And the capital plan, I think, will come as we finalize the budget. John, is there any correspondence?
There's two pieces of correspondence. One regarding an Act 250 permit, an extension for Twin State Sand and Gravel that we were notified. It just extends the date of completed construction until December of 2027. So it's just an extension of an existing.
This is their gravel pit that runs parallel to Route 5 between Route 5 and the river.
Maintenance. This is maintenance shop and infrastructure. So it doesn't. This is planned work. It's not authorized other construction. Right. And then correspondence from the Vermont Covered Bridge Society requesting if we want to join, be a municipal member of the Vermont Covered Bridge Society. We get speakers and a link to their websites and things like that. So a one-time donation of $100 to join the Vermont Covered Bridge Society. I can send this letter along to you so you can read it at your pleasure, and we can.
Do they fund fixing covered bridges?
They do not fund fixing covered bridges. I believe it is the preservation of covered bridges.
Okay.
So I'll send that along to you so you can have it and read it, and we can talk about it.
Okay. Have a good holiday, everyone.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Next meeting?
January next year.
Still.
Okay.
It's only 2 weeks away. January what?
All in favor, say aye.
January